and welcome to another episode of Talk This! It's dangerous to podcast alone. I'm one of your hosts, Madelyn, and you're back for another one of our side quest episodes, where Emma and I are going to talk about 5 topics each for a minute apiece. Let's get the clock rolling and get going!
If you've listened to our podcast before, I think it's a pretty safe bet that we have at some point mentioned that we really enjoy the Kingdom Hearts series. It was its 15th anniversary earlier this week, which we did a trivia on our Instagram, which it's been 15 years since this thing came out, which is mind-blowing, really, to think about in the first place, and also the fact that we don't have the last entry in this series yet. Where is Kingdom Hearts 3? Please come on. But you know what, like, despite all its craziness and ridiculousness and weird story choices, like, we love it. And we get, it's not about Donald, so that's a plus in all books. But now we get some really uncomfortably photorealistic Donald and Goofy in the next game since they just switched engines. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to most from this game.
So over the past 6 years, the Tribeca Film Festival in New York has started to incorporate video games into its lineup, which I didn't realize until recently, and I think is super cool. So I was just reading an article about some of their video game lineup for this year, and in addition to having some really big names coming to give talks and some retrospectives on like big name games, they're also doing sort of a preview of the new Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy. There's only one. That'd be a big job game. But they're doing it as like a crowd playthrough, like where the crowd is gonna like vote on choices, which I think is just gonna be a real exercise in frustration. Like, it's already a lot for me to be playing the game and like agonizing over choices and having Emma like sort of judge my choices as she's watching, but to have total strangers like make Rocky the Raccoon do something you didn't want, I think you're gonna have a riot on your hands, Tribeca. I think you've underestimated how much people care about these games. So watch out, folks. Be careful out there.
Speaking of games that have taken forever to come out, Persona 5 is finally almost here. And I'm very excited about it. But one of the things that's really cool about Persona 5 is that something you don't really think about unless it's really bad is the user interface, all the menus and what all the text looks like and that sort of stuff. And it's so cool. All these pictures and videos I'm seeing of it, the way the menus sort of flow into one another and how they look in your little texting phone. And it's just like, usually you don't think about those things as being like really good. You're like, oh, this menu is so good. It's normally like you can't find anything, so you hate the menu. But I feel like they've finally made it so like it's like a noticeable part of the game and something that actually adds to the game experience, because you spend so much time in the menu, you know, that you want it to look really cool, and I hadn't thought about that before. So now I'm going to be evaluating all menus.
So this year's entries into the Video Game Hall of Fame were just announced, with the nominees for the entries. So the 12 games are Donkey Kong, Final Fantasy VII, Halo Combat Evolved, Microsoft Windows Solitaire, Mortal Kombat, Myst, Pokemon Red and Green, Portal, Resident Evil, Street Fighter II, Tomb Raider, and Wii Sports. Now, only 6 of those 12 are actually going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I've got a strong 6 contenders that I think should go in. I mean, the obvious shoo-in is Pokemon. How is Pokemon, the first Pokemon games, not already in the Video Game Hall of Fame? That's a real frontrunner. So is Donkey Kong, I think. I think that's a real classic. Now, I think some of the dark horse candidates here are Wii Sports and Microsoft Windows Solitaire. In terms of the sheer number of people who've played these games and the variety of people who play these games, I really think they're the winners. Behind that point, I don't know. I'm kind of uncertain. I have a real problem with Portal because I'm really bad at it, so I'm definitely biased against that. And I've never played Final Fantasy. Tell us your top choices.
I spent a lot of time on an airplane this weekend, 2 in one day, and it was JetBlue, so I actually had Wi-Fi on the plane, which is an incredible experience in itself. But what I did a lot was just like browsing the interwebs, and I found this Kotaku feature of games told by Steam reviews, which apparently has been going on for a while, but I hadn't ever seen before, and they are, let me recommend this. This is recommended reading for you. It's like people who leave these Steam reviews, and they're just so hilarious. And like, speaking of pirates, there's always that one that's like, oh, started playing the game and then felt bad about pirating it and actually bought it. And I'm like, have some shame, people, come on. But it's just like, it's kind of like random little things, and they're like 10 out of 10 would recommend. So that's your recommended reading for the week, is these games told by Steam reviews. Have fun, enjoy.
I'm gonna go ahead and put in my vote now that on the Switch, Nintendo brings back Nintendogs. Nintendogs is such an underrated game. You get to play with a virtual puppy. Sometimes I really think I could use that here in college. I really go into dog withdrawal, and I wonder if playing with like a puppy on my do they have phone game, like a phone Nintendogs? Because that could be really soothing and therapeutic. That's a game for change I'd like to see. Plus, that's a game that I'd like to incorporate in my quote-unquote wellness center, gym, if you've been keeping up. It's going to be quite an extensive facility, but if we had a game, if we could bring in like Nintendogs to the new age when people are still playing it, then I could justify having a puppy pen at my wellness video game retreat center. It'd be great. While people are busy doing whatever horrible things I've had them doing in previous episodes, then they can go play with puppies.
So the game I'm playing at the Mo is Nier Automata, which is a very weird, but also sort of deep and moving game so far, except for the times when you do something and it ends the game. They have... I looked it up because I was curious, but there's 26 endings, all for one letter of the alphabet, but only like 5 of them are main endings, and the rest just happen when you do something stupid, So like, I've only gotten a couple, but my first one is they have this self-destruct function where it's like, theoretically, if you get yourself in a difficult situation, you can self-destruct, and that's okay. But I just wanted to know what it did, so you get it when you're in this moon bunker, and so I did it, and it ended up just exploding the bunker, apparently. But it looked so pretty from Earth. And I was not expecting that, and it was hilarious, and I think that these joke endings are a good idea.
So you might have heard me, you might have caught, if you were listening closely to this side quest, me mention that I kind of have a grudge against the game Portal. On paper, it really seems like a game I would like. I like kind of puzzly games, but I am so bad at Portal. I am terrible at Portal. I can understand exactly what I have to do to solve a puzzle, and I just like, for some reason, the camera or something is too disorienting to me. I have a distinct memory of playing Portal with our theme song guitarist and composer a few years ago, and like having like many of our friends in the room trying to get through this one level. It wasn't Portal, it was Portal 2, but still on the Xbox, which, remember, I'm not an Xbox person. Why can't we have the same controls? But it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating when you know how to solve a puzzle and you can't do it. I hate that. And that's why I hate Portal.
So we did a trivia on this a little while back, and it's still one of my favorite things of what developers do to sort of punish pirates of their games, people who obtained copies of their games illegally. And there's so many funny things. Like we showed ones of Remedy Entertainment puts little pirate eye patches on your main characters so that you feel a little bit of guilt all through playing it. But some people are much harsher. There's a game called Crisis Warhead, where if you pirate the game, it's just like all of your bullets are replaced with chickens, and you cannot shoot anything besides chickens, and they don't do any damage, so you're pretty much screwed in terms of actually getting through the game. Some games like send like invincible enemies your way in the game that you can't get through, or your save file deconstructs at some point into the game, so kudos to the developers.
Do our listeners out there have like comfort food video games? Like, I this week did a lot of sort of watching comfort food TV, and I was thinking about the fact that it's like, do I have a game that I like to go back to that's just, like, kind of mindless? And, like, honestly, it's like the racing games. I really like racing games that you don't really have to think about, and you can just jump in, and you sort of feel that sense of accomplishment, but, like, you don't have to commit to playing a full story or starting the game over again. You can just sort of, like, jump in. I sort of feel the same way about Kingdom Hearts. Shout out to our trivia this week, by the way. Except that, like, it's hard to jump in. Like, I always want to restart that game, but I almost never want to play it all the way through. If you have comfort food video games, let us know. I'm kind of interested, just because it's never something I thought about before, but, like, all of us have TV shows that we go back and we watch over and over and over. Do you have games that you act that way with?
Hey guys, it's your other host, Emma, who you've been hearing, but here I am actually talking to you. We hope you enjoyed our side quest this week. As always, we encourage you to check out our website at talkthispodcast.com and follow us on all of our social media channels, which are all at talkthispodcast. So you'll get updates. We got trivia. We got what Emma's playing, what Madelyn's playing. We got Facebook things that we do. It's just a fun way to get more involved with the show. And next week we will be back with a new episode. We've got Mortal Kombat and The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. So it'll be violent, bloody, traumatizing. All good things to describe your podcast with. But anyway, as always, we hope you have a great day.